Puff has victimized as many people with deceptive contracts and creative bookkeeping as his father did with drugs. Ooh, yikes. Ooh. Oh. Ooh, that was a little I had barely gotten the murders out of my mind when I received more bad news. My mother had fallen ill and had to retire from the gas station where she had been working for 14 years. What she thought was an ulcer or periodic severe stomach ache turned out to be colon cancer. She went through the chemotherapy but complained that it was almost as bad as the disease. Let me tell y'all something. Y'all know my wife is a breast cancer survivor. I'm telling you, that damn red devil, oh my gosh, because that's what they call it, because you get a port put in your chest and they push that red devil through. It's like toxins, man. I called Puff and asked him if he could advance me some of the money that I would receive later from my publishing. I hadn't really talked to him much since Wolf and Riz died, but I thought that he would at least return my call when he heard why I had called. No. Are you crazy? From what use, not Mark, but use in the comments tell me, y'all done told me that Puff done smacked his mama in the mouth. It's hard for me to believe that he got a sister. Because where is she? Is she in a closet somewhere with candles and a crucifix? What the fuck? Where is she? Have y'all ever seen Puffy's sister? I hadn't really talked to him much since Wolf and Riz died, but I thought that he would at least return my call when he heard why I called. I got no response. When I told a friend about my predicament, he said that he could give me 5 pounds of marijuana to sell and keep the money. The reefer was from his personal cachet, he said, so he wouldn't get in trouble for not collecting the money for it. I know that sounds crazy, risking my freedom to get money just so relatives wouldn't realize how broke I was. But that's how hazy my thinking was at the time. It sounds crazy, yes, to people that are not in the limelight, but I get it. You see actors and actresses or rappers or one-hit wonder singers, and in their mind, they are so messed up that they believe that they cannot get a job because they're so afraid of what a person would think about them, and then they don't want to answer questions. Whoever it was that put that goddamn phone in the dude's face from the Cosby Show, I forget his name. He was married to Sandra. I forget his name on the show. But this dude was bagging groceries. I'm not mad at him. In no way, in no form am I mad at a man that feeds his fucking family. You can't be so stuck in the moment of celebrity that you don't want to sacrifice to feed your children. You ain't had an acting job in friggin' years, okay? Now you find yourself beating up on your girlfriend because you're mad won't nobody give you a job. The last job you had was Michael Bivins in the New Edition movie. Before that, it was the rapper on Empire. Now you're on the internet pop locking and dropping it with no shirt on, looking crazy. Bro, it's okay if you get a job at the A&P. It's okay. Jermaine Jackson been working at the Safeway in California for 80 years. When you adore your mother, her death can make your mind really do a number on you. Facts. I still ain't recovered. I'm never going to recover from my mother's death. I know I'm 52 years old, and most people my age don't have their mother anymore. I left the hospital that night and headed towards Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. A friend that I grew up with told me that if I could make it to Myrtle Beach, he would be able to sell all of it. I drove all night in order to get back to my mother as quickly as I could. My friend sent his contact to my hotel room around 7 o'clock the next morning. The guy looked at the weed, smelled it, and then said that he didn't want it. I didn't have time to argue, so I put the weed back into the bag and packed for home. I thought the sale was a sure thing and consequently had no money on me. I didn't have $1 for gas. My friend gave me $150. Your mom was always nice to me, he said. I made it back to Atlanta on March 3rd. Mother died the next day. Bad boy, the words hovered over my head like storm clouds as 2004 slipped away. I wondered whether Puff remembered about his promise to me when he learned of my beloved mother's passing. His promise meaning, I'm going to pay you your money, Mark Curry. After she died, I lost most of my desire to even be released on the Bad Boy label. I had fought him so long that I finally concluded that it was one battle that I could not win. I called my lawyer to see if he could talk to Puff about releasing me from my contract. In April, Puff effectively ended his stake in the Bad Boy label. He sold the company to Warner Music, but remained CEO of Bad Boy. The deal netted him another $30 million. In August, he was in the news again after British tabloids ran a story about him allegedly breaking Kim Porter's nose during a brawl on a yacht in Saint Tropez. The newspaper reported that people heard them arguing about 2 o'clock in the morning, and some were awakened 5 hours later by screaming. Puff claimed that people were mistaken about hearing them arguing and about Kim screaming, "Listen, listen, listen." Shots of La Vista to Kim Porter, God rest your soul, but girl, you should have kicked him in them fucking childbearing hips. I know Kim. Kim was probably like 120 pounds, okay, if that. And that nigga with them big ass hips and thick ass thighs. Whatever happened, everyone agreed that Puff summoned a plastic surgeon to the yacht to fix the damage. Despite all the hurt that this man had caused people, the media almost always accepted his side of the story. I started jotting down my thoughts about my life with Bad Boy, and before I knew it, I had written over 80 pages. Writing turned out to be therapeutic, just as YouTube for me is therapeutic. It helped me to remove those lingering clouds. As I finished writing it, I felt like a man coming home from doing 10 years in prison. So even though I initially considered the book as leverage, it had become something far more important. "Do you still want to fight me, Mark Curry?" is how he began the telephone conversation. "Do I still want to fight you? What makes you think I ever wanted to fight you?" I said. "I don't want to fight you. About 7 people told me that you weren't fucking around with me no more and that you are going to write a book to tell people about how I treat my artists and shit. I don't know whether to punch them in the face or what, because I know they lying on you." Games. That was meant to tell me that he was my friend, but it also implied that people who lied on him could get hurt. He said that he was going to be doing some shows and wanted to know if I could come back on the road with him. He said that it wasn't one of the free homie deals, but rather a job with a check waiting for me each week. And you believe that, Mark? Naturally, I wanted to refuse, but financial problems and my faith in people prevented me from doing so. I wanted to accept the offer just to see whether he was trying to apologize for how he had derailed my career and our friendship. I even contemplated changing my mind about writing the book. One day, Puff told me to meet him at his condo after rehearsal so we could talk things over. His condo in New York overlooks Central Park. All of the windows offered views of the park. People said that he loved that condo so much because he could see the area where his father was killed. Puff started rattling on about all of his plans for the new album, about how much he spent for the condo and everything else. He was too keyed up to even remember why he asked me there. After several attempts to get him on topic, I gave up because he was trying to talk and pack for a trip to Philly at the same time. They handed out checks on last day of rehearsal. Everyone got a check but me. I asked the manager about it. Mark, he said, I didn't want to offend you by offering you what everybody else gets. I know you have a special deal going on with Puff, so I'm just waiting on him to tell me what to pay you. Bullshit the baker. As of right now, you pay me what you paying everybody else. As of right now, motherfucker. And then whatever else I get, the quote, unquote special deal, you pay me that shit later. As of right now, give me my everybody else check, motherfucker. We went to Miami for the show. Puff and I still hadn't sat down to talk. I wanted to tell him about my book. After rehearsal, the day of the show, he told me to meet him at his house on Star Island, which is about 5 minutes from South Beach. I rode my scooter over. They still hadn't gotten my money situation worked out after Puff's performance was over and everyone was ready to head back home. I at least wanted to get my money before I left. If I went home empty-handed, my wife was going to flip out. She already didn't feel too comfortable about me working with him again. The last thing I needed to do was come home as broke as when I left. Word. Because if you ain't coming home with money, in my mind, all you doing is going out on the road to Peacock and fuck bitches. I had to stay in New York for 2 extra days to complete my mission. The label didn't want to pay for my hotel, so I had to pay for it out of my paycheck. Well, did you get your paycheck? Before I left New York, I paid Puff one last time. I told him that I was going back, and if it was possible for us to continue to work, I would appreciate it because I needed some income in order to get my life together. I told him that I was about to lose my house and that bill collectors were hounding me to death. Again, no response. I don't know why you fuck with this nigga. I guess he only needed me to help him get through those live shows and to help complete the album. Puff has victimized as many people with deceptive contracts and creative bookkeeping as his father did with drugs. Ooh, yikes. Ooh, ooh. That was a little bit. Last year, I lost my home to foreclosure, just like thousands of other American families who place too much faith in their fellow man. Like the sweet-talking lady at the mortgage refinancing company. Word. My first home, I lost it because the bastards was like, oh, yeah, girl, don't worry about it, girl. All you got to do is come back and refinance. Like I said, I could refinance because I had got an arm on my mortgage. We didn't do that this go round. But child, I got an arm on my mortgage, baby. And when that arm came up, because it was good for the first couple of years. Shut up, Lou. It was good for the first couple of years. And then when that arm came around, it smacked me in my fucking face. Today, I am homeless and still driving a 1992 Honda Accord that I bought at auction 5 years ago. I still cannot afford health insurance for my son, my wife, or myself. Medicaid. I mean, Obamacare is still there, baby. He got himself together now because he owns a company, a carpentry company. So he's doing, I'm not going to say quite well, but he's doing good for himself. But God damn it, Obamacare is there. I'm happy that my wife stood by me through all those years because her faith in me gave me the strength to keep writing hit songs. But I'm unhappy because Puff took those hit songs for himself and prevented me from taking my talent elsewhere. My wife entrusted our future to me, but my reliance on Puff made my promise to her and Mark Jr. end up as lies. I still don't know why God put my life on the same road next to Sean John Combs. I do hope that in writing this cautionary tale about what really happens inside the music business, I will prevent at least one young man or woman from signing a record deal before consulting with a counselor or lawyer who is independent of the record label. You ain't got to worry about this now, okay? You ain't got to worry about that. We in the days of the internet. Beyonce's internet rules all.